And now the most exciting, when could all those American places obtain their Kartvelian, Georgian, European names, and how, under which circumstances? That would be the very important point of our story, because the thing number one within the project Between Two Iberias, project of mine, is to prove that the world used to speak Kartvelian languages all over. And the discovery number two, a very huge discovery of mine, is that about 3,200 years ago, approximately in the century of the Trojan War, the sea level was 120 meters, which would be 360 feet for Americans, higher than today, and that's the maximum possible height of the sea level, meaning that all the world's ice melted in Antarctica and Greenland, everywhere. There were no ice, and the sea level was raised by 120 meters. The conventional science doesn't know anything about that, doesn't care about that. In our turn, we don't care at all about the conventional science. We are talking to you these things. Conventional science cannot comment on that or cannot provide any counter arguments. So they prefer to silence it and to ignore it. So that's a very long story. I have written a book, Discovery of Real Troy. I have filmed a two-part documentary, Discovery of Real Troy, both in Europe and in Turkey, where all that story is explained in the smallest details. How, when, why we can be so sure, what it means, etc. So it's a fact. The sea level 3,000 years ago was much higher than today, and this sea coastline all over the world was absolutely different. And now we have, I think, we have an answer to the question when the American places could obtain their Kartvelian Georgian names. That was exactly about 3,200 years ago, when the sea level was that high. Because in the Canadian province of Manitoba, which in its turn is a Kartvelian place name as well, pretty easy one, we see a settlement, Native American settlement, called Shamattawa. That would be very interesting, very stunning for the Georgian people to learn that, because Shamattawa is a quite popular Georgian and Megrelian surname, which exists today, and we know quite a number of people. In particular, we know a football player with the surname Shamattawa. And at the same time, we find this word as a name of a settlement deep in the forests of Manitoba, pretty far from the coastline, from the coast of the Hudson Bay. But if we, or when we raise the sea level by 120 meters, and we have a tool to do so on internet, it's floodmap.net site, we see that the Shamattawa settlement happens to be right on the coast of the Hudson Bay. That means that some Kartvelian, some Megrelian, some Colchian, to be more exact, named Shamattawa, in the same century of the trip of the Argonauts to the Colchis, to the same Colchis land, made a trip across the Atlantic Ocean to Canada, entered Canada, or the province of Manitoba, entered it through Hudson Bay, founded a settlement named after him, Shamattawa, and maybe gave a name to the whole Manitoba province. We can only use our imagination here. And after that, and we know that too, that in a couple of hundred years the sea level was got down pretty drastically. It was not more than 50 meters higher than today. The coastline went from that Shamattawa settlement, and it turned out to be a pretty continental place with no connection to the water, and thus with no explanation of its history, how it emerged, how it was founded, and by whom. But we know now that it was founded by some Colchian named Shamattawa, because coincidence, Shamattawa surname, the Shamattawa word is pretty specific, coincidence is not likely at all. And in South America, in the same moment, I insist, in Brazil, there emerged a settlement called Cananea. It still exists today, but the word Cananea totally coincides with the name of Canaan, which we call Hanan, which in fact was not Hanan but Hanana. Nana meaning mother in Migrelian, and Ha being the definitive article. So the mother, Hanana. I have a big article about that. But also if we see in the Migrelian dictionary the word Nanaya, meaning being a diminutive from mother, meaning mummy. So Hanana would mean the mummy, the motherland. Well, for the Phoenician people, I think so. But also we need to remember that Mark and Matthew called the land of Canaan, Cananea. So we have Cananea as the name of Canaan, and we have Cananea as the name of a settlement in Brazil, right next to the river Paraná. That's another Paraná, not the same Paraná that flows in Argentina. There is another Paraná river in, well, we have Paraná, that big one, Paraná, also in Brazil, but in Brazil we have two Paraná rivers. This Paraná and Paraná, the meaning inundation in Migrelian language, and next to it we see the Cananea settlement. So people from Canaan, from Phoenicia, from Middle East, from Israel, I have lots of materials about that. They were clearly Kartvelian speaking people as well.